Hello, YouTube. It's live. The YouTube part is live. I have a special guest with me. The deepest of cuts for the PlayStation Empire. M-Dog himself, Mitchell Morgan.
What's going on, Max?
It's going great. Let's get the audio rolling and we'll get the official podcast set up and going.
Sweet.
The podcast audio rolling right along. Oh gosh, not that zoomed in. Okay. These ant bites won't calm down, probably because I keep scratching them. But that's my own fault. Let's do this. I gotta write timestamps down. Since Logan's actually at E3, I gotta do all of it myself.
That's right.
Alrighty. It's fun. Let's do this now-ish. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Millennial Gaming Speaks E3 2017 PlayStation press conference breakdown. I am one of your hosts, Max Roberts. Our usual host, Logan Moore, is actually out there at E3 in LA doing the Lord's work, writing the news up for DualShockers.com. The Sony press conference just ended. I'm sure he's scrambling around writing some news about how Spider-Man is very, very good looking. But to kind of make sure there's at least two people on this podcast, I have brought a special guest for each E3 episode this year. And for the PlayStation episode, I've decided to bring back a deep cut for those of you that may have listened to Podcast Beyond back in the day when Greg and Colin were there, along with Ryan Clements and Andrew Goldfarb. M-Dog himself, back in action from the grave.
Back from the dead.
Mitchell Morgan. How's it going, dude?
It's going great, Max. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This Mitchell Morgan kid here has graduated high school. He's still monitoring all the bets. I'm sure there's still some that have to be cashed in.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. How do you keep up with all the bets, Mitchell?
You know, for a long time, it was always a scramble. It was like they'd randomly start talking and randomly yell at me in the middle of an episode, so I just write it down. I had the back of an airplane ticket for a long time was where I wrote everything down.
That ticket, you should frame that ticket and sell it.
I should frame that ticket. Yeah, there are a lot of crappy predictions on there, man.
You should find that ticket, put a picture up of it online.
Yeah, I'll dig around, see if I can find that.
Maybe there's some crazy Sony predictions on there.
There was one that was like SimCity coming to PS4 in 2015 or something.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's the one that's popping out to me right now.
You can see it in your mind's eye.
Yeah. Every night, man.
So the Sony press conference just ended an hour ago. You and I both went to the PlayStation E3 experience in the movie theaters. So this is our third year doing it. It's Sony's third year doing it. Always fun to go see it on the big screen. But Sony proper, before their show, Ubisoft had their E3 press conference. So I thought we would break that down slightly before we went into Sony proper. And Ubisoft opened up the show with one of their two most leaked games ever, Mario Rabbids. I forget the subtitle, Battle something. It's late at night. Mario and Rabbids is real, and they showed off. Not only that, they had Miyamoto there, and the game is coming out August 31st. Mitchell, do you have a Switch? Are you a Switch guy?
I'm not a Switch guy. Still don't have a Switch.
Do you want a Switch?
Kind of, but I think for most people, I would want it for Breath of the Wild right now. But nothing else on there really entices me. Like Mario Kart looks sweet.
It is.
And this is it.
Yeah, I promise it is.
But right now, it doesn't really make sense for me to buy that console. If I could even find one, my local game store was looking for like a solid month. Couldn't get any.
It's hard to come by one of those. I do have a Switch. I love my Switch very, very much. So seeing this Mario Rabbids game and actually it looking pretty darn entertaining. It's basically XCOM with Mario and the Rabbids, but in a very colorful and bright world with some cool strategy elements. Got me pretty amped. Um, Especially because they've got Arms coming out this Friday. Splatoon is, I think, July, and then August is this Mario Rabbids game with Mario Odyssey coming in sometime after that. So I mean, pretty big games coming out quite consistently. So that's always a great thing to see. And I'm pretty darn eager for this one. I'm sure Logan is as well. He was all about that game when it leaked. Um, it's cool to see. There was the other leaked game that there was so much of was Assassin's Creed Origins Egypt, or Assassin's Creed Origins, which is set in Egypt. It is should have had more Mountain Dew. They showed off an Egypt trailer of the game with no more gameplay. Showed gameplay later, but what do you think about Assassin's Creed so far? We've kind of seen it. We saw it at Xbox, and now we've seen it at Ubisoft. So what are your takes on the new Assassin's Creed game?
Um, well, for one, I've never been a big Assassin's Creed guy. Have you? Have you really liked the
I
series
I was big in up until 3.
up until three? Okay.
I was gone.
Black Flag was really the only one that I put that much time into. Um,
No, I hate
really
Black Flag.
Black. Well, why'd you hate Black Flag? Not to go on too far of a tangent, but
For those that listen to the show know why, but it's because it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, it was a pirate game. And it's a great pirate game, but I did not like sailing
okay.
and using that to navigate the entire world and all that. With it.
And see,
It's a
I
great
think I
pirate
think
game,
that's
just not for me.
I think that's why I liked it so much is because it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game. And of
Yeah.
all the snippets I've played of other ones, I just can't get into the gameplay of those. I like the story. I like what they're doing there. I think it's a really interesting concept, but the gameplay has never clicked for me. But the
I'm
gameplay
hoping I'm hoping these RPG mechanics and stuff will help
for 100%.
kind of bridge some of the gap.
Yeah,
It adds a little bit of spice. I think the gameplay is needed.
I think so too. I really like what we saw from Microsoft, especially.
Oh,
All
the
the
demo, yeah,
demo there was really, really cool looking.
with Falcon flying and giving you supervision and
Yeah.
the ability to like level up and pick up items and stuff. It looks, and then a magic bow where you can control the arrow.
Yeah, that was such a cool way to end that demo.
So they showed off some more Assassin's Creed. They announced officially the Crew 2, which apparently you get to drive all the vehicles, cars, boats, motorcycles, planes, race anything and everything all across America. That game, like, apparently is pretty good, but it just doesn't seem for me. Are you like a Crew guy? Were you a fan of the Crew? Did you even play
I
it?
I was in the beta for the Crew. And it didn't do anything special to me. I was never really hooked by the whole idea of driving cross country. Um, I think the Burnout games really nail that in a way. The Need for Speed games now nail that in a way that the Crew didn't for me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think bringing in new vehicles, bringing in speedboats and airplanes in that same type of map could be a really cool way to diversify it.
Oh yeah, we'll be able to fly, and it looks pretty interesting. We'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, it's just like they took anything with a motor and wheels and threw it in the game. It's kind of crazy.
It looks like a ton of fun, which is really cool.
They had a couple other games. They showed off a new South Park trailer, which I'm glad they did a trailer instead of gameplay because the game's been in development forever. So hopefully it does hit its October release date. Then they pulled out Elijah Wood for some spooky VR game called Transference, coming out in spring 2018. I haven't heard if it is coming to PSVR or not. I didn't see anything that indicated that. I hope it does. But it just looked funky, and Elijah Wood's involved for some reason. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But the next really big Ubisoft was their new pirate game, which looks like they took all the stuff that made Black Flag so good as far as a pirate game and put it into this big shared world multiplayer kind of game called Skull and Bones, where you get up other pirate ships and stuff. What did you think about Skull and Bones?
I I thought it was really cool, which you probably could have guessed by me liking Black Flag for that
Mm-hmm.
exact same reason. But like you said, it looks like they took everything that worked in Black Flag and just dove into it, made it far more complex. Uh, so the idea of having different game modes, different PvP battle modes, um, like playing with your friends on different pirate ships, getting a crew together, kind of reminded me of Sea of Thieves in that way. I think it's interesting that we're getting a lot of, not a lot of, but several different takes on the pirate game. Um,
It's time for the pirate to come back, make its comeback.
Screw the zombies, time for the pirates.
Oh, and then we'll be sick of pirates and we'll go to like ninjas and then it'll be crazy. It's
Everything.
it looks cool. My problem is it looks like a bulk of it is going to be sailing, which I just don't find entertaining. As like an enticing gameplay mechanic, even if you are shooting ships and stuff. I just think there's too much going on there. I would much rather have a pirate game doing the land stuff from Assassin's Creed, but as like a pirate where I'm digging up treasure and then fighting people. Like it's probably going to be good. It reminded me a lot of For Honor, that war game that came out earlier this year from Ubisoft, where you could choose three different the samurai, the gladiator, or the Viking, and then something else. This kind of sounds like the same thing, like a big multiplayer pirate, and I'm sure it will sell very well and do very well because Ubisoft seems to be doing pretty well in that space right now, with games like Rainbow Six and For Honor and Steep and all sorts of stuff. These games but they still sell all over the place. Kind of another rapid fire part here. They showed off Just Dance, surprise, surprise, and then some South Park mobile gaming.
Mm-hmm.
How many microtransactions do you think that game's gonna have?
Just by the name. So tell me a little bit about that one. So this is
Oh,
where I
that's
dropped
right.
off.
This is where you dropped off. So South Park Phone Destroyer literally looks like a card battle game. So it looks free to play and probably will have tons of microtransactions. The next game was called Starlink Battle for Atlas. And this is a Toys to Life game. Build and customize your ship in real life, and then it changes in the game. So you add different parts and stuff. The ridiculous part is there's some weird peripheral that attaches to the face of your controller. So literally in between the joysticks, sticking up above your controller, is your plastic toy ship. And so you change parts on the peripheral, and then it changed obtuse controller peripheral I've ever seen in my life, and I cannot see anyone actually playing with it.
Okay. Just from that description, it sounds kind of cool.
Like being able to change your ship and stuff, yes,
Yeah,
but having it
like
sit square in the middle of your controller, no.
yeah, that does seem weird. It's
You
just by that
should
description. You saw it, so does it seem more like the Lego Dimensions kind of cool Toys to Life, or more Skylanders that didn't really work for me? Where do you see this
probably
falling?
Lego Dimensions.
Okay, cool.
Probably Lego Dimensions. You should look it up. You should look it up, at least to see the controller thing, because it's pretty cringy. Then they closed out the show with some Steep DLC. The game apparently is selling and doing pretty well. Some Far Cry 5 gameplay, which is okay. And then they closed out the show with probably the biggest game reveal of E3 so far. And this includes even Sony. Beyond Good and Evil 2 had a new trailer come out and apparently is real still, and hopefully coming out sooner rather than later. Have you ever played Beyond Good and Evil?
I played like the first hour or so of the original on PS3 back in the day, but have not
Okay.
had much experience with it.
I don't have any either. All I know is there's a pig.
There's a pig. So,
Uh,
was there gameplay or was it just a CG trailer?
just a CG trailer. Apparently, the gameplay demo is behind closed doors at E3, so we'll probably hear some firsthand impressions later this week. But all they showed was a trailer.
Okay.
It apparently is a prequel. For those of you that do like Beyond Good and Evil, it is a prequel. It seemed, I don't know. Every time I looked at Beyond Good and Evil, as far as the box art goes with the girl and the pig and stuff, I never, I guess, pegged it as a mature game. But Beyond Good and Evil 2 is very mature in its language and violence and things like that. So I was kind of taken aback. Maybe the game's always been like that. Sounds like neither one of us can really speak to that, but I was surprised at how mature it was. So we'll see when this game comes out. I'm sure it'll come out before Kingdom Hearts 3, so before 2025 or something. So don't worry about it, folks. Now let's get to our bread and butter here, Mitchell Morgan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Conversation. The movie theater before 8.
Yes, yeah, got
Okay.
there around 7:30.
So you saw the pre-show as well then?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's awesome because Logan wasn't able to see it. He was texting me, and then he wasn't able to see it because he was actually at the event. So this is going to be great. So Sony had about an hour before the press conference, and they showed off all sorts of new games and stuff. When I was surprised they didn't put them in the show, but I'm actually getting ahead of myself. I'm being bad. We were supposed to talk about our predictions that we had to kind of see how we stacked up. Did you bring those predictions with you?
Yes, I do have mine.
Okay, why don't you tell the people your predictions you had for Sony before we went into the show?
All right, I'll tell you they're pretty abysmal. Um,
Don't worry, mine are too.
First one is Days Gone will get a stage demo, release date in October.
You were half right there.
Give me half a point there, sweet. The second one I was nervous about, Last of Us Part 2 will not be shown.
Oh, you good.
Got that there. And then the next three are just totally awful. I'm not going to count this one. You can if you want. A new remastered collection of a PlayStation IP will be announced, maybe Spyro. Shadow of the Colossus is already done, so
I'd count it.
You'd count it? Okay. If I was me, that'd be brutal. But I appreciate that. The one I'm most disappointed in, Sucker Punch will show up, announce a new project for launch next year. I don't know where they are. I really want to hear from them.
They're out doing something. Gosh, it's been too long.
It's been since First Light, which was 2014, 2015, right?
2014, I think.
I haven't heard anything other than that Shuhei saw the game once and it looked really cool. And then in line with the Microsoft announcement we saw yesterday, I was predicting more PlayStation Now announcements, allow streaming of PS1 and PS4 games, potentially, something with that further integration there. But
okay.
I don't know. Sean came out, talked for like 2 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah, actually, no one talked in the show. So to kind of refresh people real quick, my predictions, if you didn't listen to the show, was Sucker Punch's new game is revealed. It's open world new IP and set for 2018. I had Days Gone would be demoed, shows off the world and the date. And I put November 7th, 2017. The Last of Us Part 2 demo, showing off Ellie and how her gameplay has changed since the DLC Left Behind. God of War demo with a spring 2018 window given, and then Sly Cooper 5. Just that's all I wrote, Sly Cooper 5. So those kind of refresh on our predictions. Now back to the pre-show where they announced a lot of cool stuff, man. Kicked it off with a Crash trailer, which I thought was a good way to remind people that this game is coming out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, right? Yep. So that was pretty cool to kind of just see Crash again. They also showed off everyone's favorite sequel, most anticipated, Knack 2 trailer, launch date of September 5th, and launching at the price of $40. $40 for Knack 2.
Buy it like Ratchet and Clank.
I think that's exactly what it is. They're taking cue from Ratchet and Clank, and I think that is a perfect price point for that kind of game, and we'll see how it sells. I see more of Knack 2, as weird of a sentence as that is to say. Then they showed off these things called PlayLink games, and I think it's like this collection of different games. They showed off 2 of them. One of them was called Hidden Agenda, And what was hidden agenda, Mitchell?
So from what we saw, it looks like a game Until Dawn-esque, where you're placed in a situation that's like an interrogation sequence. Like, do you want to be authoritative? Do you want to be the good cop? And instead of making that decision solely by yourself, you can be on the couch with up to five of your friends and make the decision as a group. And then they start getting more complex of like individual people will have to try to persuade other people on the couch to go along with their decision or have to have ulterior motives that they have to go along with. Seems like a really, really interesting twist on that kind of game.
It's almost like they took a Telltale game and a board game and fused them
Yeah.
together. I'm very, very intrigued, and I don't remember if you mentioned this or not, but this is Supermassive is making this.
Yes.
The
Yes.
folks that did Until Dawn, and we might hear a
That's
little bit more from them later in the show.
right. But recently, a lot of the games that I've been playing have been those couch co-op social games. Like one of my favorite games, uh, I got a PlayStation VR over the holiday break, and me and my
Yeah, you
friend
did.
came over to my house like every weekend for like a couple months straight and played Keep Talking Nobody Explodes until like
Oh,
4 o'clock in the morning.
I
Easily
really want that game. Is it?
one of my.
It's pretty good.
It's amazing. Like
It's the
just
one where you have to disarm the bomb, right?
correct, and only the person in the VR headset can see the bomb.
Yep.
So the rest of the people just have the manual, and we just got it down to such a science that certain people had their strengths and they would always do those. And we had like tree diagrams. We had 10, like dozens and dozens of pages of notes that we would frantically write on. So much fun. I love those kind of games. So I'm really excited about these PlayLink games and to see if they really try to push these further because they talked about That's You. A similar idea seems kind of like a Jackbox party game.
I was gonna say that exactly. It looks funky. I like that they had Shoe in that commercial for that game.
So I'm really excited to see where these goes. I really hope that they continue making these couch co-op experiences like that because with the Jackbox games, I think that really kickstarted that movement, and it's been so much fun.
Yeah, I really am excited to see more, especially of the other games apparently under this PlayLink Games brand or collection. I'm not even sure still if it's all of these games are part of one or each one is their own standalone game. I'm not quite sure yet still. So then they kind of had these they had a lot of cool stuff in the pre-show. Housemarque's other game besides Nex Machina, which by itself is already an incredible game, Matterfall gameplay debuted with a release date of August 15th. Like we're getting two Housemarque twin stick shooters 2 months apart. It's amazing.
Right.
What a
I could
time
not
to
be
be
happy.
alive.
Like I I said I cannot be happier about this. I'm such a big Housemark fan. Um, I didn't get in the Next Machina beta. I know you did, and I heard your thoughts on that. How much you loved that.
Oh my god, it's so good.
And Matterfall reminded me of Outland, their game from a few years ago. Just that 2D platformer where you can shift between the red and the blue, and it has different effects on the environment. Um, so two kind of different types of games from them within two months. I cannot wait.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very, very cool.
I missed that Resogun leaderboard chasing. I'm so excited to spend the rest of my summer just doing that.
Oh, you'll have that in Next Machina for sure. Then you're gonna be all over the place. I'm gonna see your name up there.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
like, the next thing they showed off was GT Sport, saying that it was going to release this fall at some point. So that sounds like it's going to be PlayStation's big fall game. Is GT Sport if they hit their window, which we know Gran Turismo never really does. So we'll see how that shakes out. But that was more kind of like a dev diary, dev doc, talking about the game and its importance and stuff like that. To me, it's just Gran Turismo with VR support. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I mean, this game cannot be underestimated. Gran Turismo 5, I think, is the best selling PS3 game. And with 50 million plus PS4s out there, I imagine GT Sport is going to sell bonkers.
Definitely. And the PSVR integration with that too is going to be crazy.
It also is native 4K lock 60 frames, which is pretty big for that kind of a game to be pushing that kind of stuff. So big deal for GT Sport. They also showed off probably one of the most eagerly VR games to come to PSVR, like hopeful, and that is Super Hot coming to PSVR. Ho, doctor. I cannot wait.
Me neither. I remember that being announced for
Oh
Oculus
my.
and just hoping and praying that came to PSVR.
I remember my roommate playing it on PC a long time ago, back when it first came out on PC. And I was like, this concept is so cool. And then it came to VR, and now it's coming to PSVR this summer, and I cannot wait. It
And
is
they said
going to be so good.
just a couple weeks, right?
All I heard was summer. I didn't get a concrete day.
I thought Sid said like a little, you'll see this in just a couple weeks, or
Maybe, I
maybe.
don't know. I'll we can double check that. Crazy. But the next thing they showed got me excited. Not because I've played the game before, because I've really wanted to play the game. I haven't been able to because it's a PC game and I'm a console gamer. And that is Undertale is coming to PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. And you better believe I shouted in my theater, "The Vita lives!" Um, man, what a snag for Sony. A lot of buzz around this game last year and how great it is. And it's cool to see it coming to PlayStation. And I hope it has cross save and a
With
platinum trophy.
ridiculous collector's editions too. Like the Vita's getting
Fan
some serious
gamer.
support. Yeah,
It's, I do not see a date for Super Hot.
nothing.
Zilch, but Undertale coming to PS4 and Vita. Very excited. Cannot wait to pick up this game. Another game coming out that I'm surprised actually wasn't at the show proper. Ni no Kuni 2, given a trailer, along with a release date of November 10th of this year. Nino Nana.
No.
That's a beyond cut right there. So Ni no Kuni's coming out. Did you play Ni no Kuni, The Wrath of White Witch?
Not really my type of game.
No, it's not. I played the demo and really wanted it, but I never ended up buying it. I don't know why. It seems pretty perfect to me. Up my alley, at least. And then they closed out the pre-show by announcing the location and dates of PSX. Cool, because last year they didn't up until like right before the show. It was cool to see them get ahead this time and let people, start making their plans. So PSX is returning this year for 10th. Have you ever been to PSX? Like, is that something you want to do?
Maybe I don't know if that in itself is worth an expensive trip out to California for me. Maybe part
That's true.
of a bigger thing when they released the 20th anniversary consoles at PSX exclusively for a bit. That would have been great to be there for.
For that
And then
hot.
maybe we'll see Last of Us Part 2 this winter.
We should. Neil tweeted out, he's like, it's time for Nadine and Chloe to shine. I was like, no, it's not. Ellie to shine. Ellie can carry us. Yeah, that was the pre-show, which I thought actually was a really good way to keep folks in the theater entertained, and kind of help build up hype for the press conference itself. It got me really excited. I was like, man, if they're announcing all of this in the pre-show, that means it's be packed. And I actually left a little disappointed. It wasn't as packed as I thought it was going to be. So you ready to dive into the show proper?
Let's do it, Max.
They opened up with that Lost Legacy cinematic trailer. If only I could have heard it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was going to ask you that.
Yep.
We did not get audio until Days Gone.
Yep. Apparently that was stream wide. So even on the internet, if you were streaming it, not the only ones. But yes, so no sound for the Lost Legacy. But man, did it look good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm excited for a good old, just like a good 10-hour Uncharted campaign. Bring
I
it
don't
on,
know
Naughty Dog.
if your theater did this, but people started making up the conversations that were happening between all the characters in that.
No one made up the dialogue, but I did. We had a couple of people made motorcycle noises because it was still stuttering in the beginning there.
Yep.
And then for the next thing that they announced, the Horizon DLC, which is apparently
Yes.
coming out sometime in 2017. Someone shouted out, "This is my favorite part of the night. Horizon Zero Dawn, more like Horizon Zero Sound." I was like, yeah, that was good. I like that one a lot. Did you? I assume you played Horizon. Did you?
Platinum it, loved it. Yes.
Just bought it, and I'm like 6, 7 hours in, and I can already tell that I'm going to platinum it and love it.
Oh yeah.
So it's a really cool game. So I'm excited to see that DLC is coming out very quick too. 2017 for some DLC for Horizon. So that's going to be cool. But let's gameplay demo of the show, which was Days Gone. Ben Studios game came out of the ashes last E3 and with a demo, and now we have another one showing off a little bit of the motorcycle gameplay, combat, and some weird mutant bear. How are you feeling about Days Gone? I'm hearing a lot, like both sides. Hearing people aren't so hot on it, and some people that are down for it.
I think they're showing this year is a lot stronger than they're showing last year. I think last year it lacked a lot of polish. It looked kind of like I don't know, like a lower level, maybe a B game. But some of the shots that they had in this gameplay demo really looked like almost Naughty Dog quality of the lighting and the graphics and the gameplay in general. So I'm getting more and more excited for this game. This demo definitely piqued my interest more than last year.
I I'm on board for this game. There's just something about the motorcycle, the setting of like the Oregon forest area and stuff like that, and particularly the combat, being able to stealth around, set up traps, trick people into attacking things, and then using the I guess we'll call them zombies. I think there's a technical name for them, but the zombies, using them to fight off moments, I think is really cool. That's something that Last of Us Left Behind messed around with a little bit with Ellie, but seeing it on a larger scale with these faster um, World War Z kind of zombies, I think is really cool. I think it's going to offer a lot of player options when it comes to combat scenarios and stuff. And I'm interested in the main character. He seems like a baller. Doesn't mess around. Hardcore. Um, so I'm on board for Days Gone. I wish we had a date for it, but no date was given. So
Do you think
Days.
we're getting that this year still?
What was that?
Do you think we're getting that this year?
I think if it was this year, they would have said so.
Mm. So spring next year, you'd hope.
No, fall next year.
Really? You
Scott,
think it's that far
God of War is their spring game.
away? I don't think it's next fall. I don't think it's that far away. I
I
think
just
I
think
think
if it was
Detroit
this
is
year,
that.
they would have given us, they would have told us, right?
Yeah, that's fair, but I don't know, maybe late spring. I don't see this being a holiday game next year for them.
I don't know, but man, if they were just like, we're just not confident yet, just give us like another month and we'll let you know. If it could come out this year, that would be great,
Yeah.
but I don't think it will. Um, but Days Gone was looking pretty sharp. The next game they showed off was from Capcom, Monster Hunter World, early 2018. Spent a little too long on that game, I thought. But Monster Hunter is very, very big. I think it fits better with like Nintendo platforms, specifically 3DS. And I know they just announced a Switch Monster Hunter game. I've never really heard a lot of buzz behind a PS4 version of the game, but I know there are a couple. But it's cool to see Monster Hunter on the PS4. It's such a big platform and audience. Um, it's gonna find plenty of people to play it. Have you ever played Monster Hunter? Is that like your thing?
No, not really. And the trailer
Neither.
did nothing for me.
Nothing. Yeah, it was a very weird trailer.
I
It was.
leaned over to my friend while we were watching. I was like, it looks like someone ran into their office last night. It was like, hey, we need a trailer done by tomorrow. Because like
Yeah, it was
it, it,
very weird.
it was because it wasn't like even the gameplay they showed off wasn't really intriguing. Like they started off with him running to that green plant, and it just kind of like pollen
Yeah.
world. And then there were several times where like he ran up to a big monster, and then the camera shifted away from it, and nothing happened. It just seemed like a weird trailer to me.
It was weird. But one trailer that wasn't weird was the next game they showed off. Shadow of the Colossus remaster, done by Bluepoint for the PS4, ground up. Looks pretty crazy. But the real question I have for you, Mitchell Morgan,
Yeah.
are they going to remaster those controls?
You would hope. I
Like
mean,
it's the game's coming out in 2018. So when it's out, it'll be 2018. We can't be using controls like that in 2018, right?
no. I played through the majority of it during that PS3 remaster that they put out,
Mm-hmm.
and I never got used to those controls. They were just so foreign and just felt awkward the entire way through. So I
Please,
really
Boop
hope
Play,
they're
save us.
do something.
It looked really good. I'm sure your theater was the same, but ours got very, very excited. Shadow of the Colossus is a highly revered game in the space and history of games. People love it. It is a top game for them. It's kind of crazy that, I mean, it's a remaster, so it's not like, but this came out close to The Last Guardian. Like, this game was in development during The Last Guardian's final days, and it'll be out before year or two is up. So interesting to think about that. The the next game they talked about was Marvel vs. Capcom. Announced a demo that you can download actually right now. I think a story demo. Showed off some new characters and stuff. I cool. It's Marvel
Yeah,
vs. Capcom.
story kind of reminded me of the Brawl Subspace Emissary. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's called Subspace Emissary. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
just seems like a weird fusion B tier story. Well, it's cool. I'm glad that it's coming out because there are a lot of fans that love Marvel vs. Capcom, but not for me. I'll try the demo out for sure because it's just free. It's no harm, no foul. But then they went into Call of Duty World War II next.
Hmm.
And I was sure we were going to see like solid gameplay, like here is a mission or something, or here's the multiplayer reveal. But it was really just this cinematic blow stuff up, definitely in World War II trailer. Think of Call of Duty, like thought it was actually a lackluster showing for COD.
Um, I wasn't particularly swayed either way by it. It's still, I was like you. I was hoping for like they did with Battlefront at EA's, like a big multiplayer uh, showcase. Like they just showed everything of multiplayer, but it was just really a lot of fast clips that didn't really do the setting justice to me.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really intrigue me any further. My buddy I went with really likes Call of Duty and felt the same way. Didn't He wasn't super thrilled with the trailer. It reminded me a lot of Call of Duty 2, which was the first Call of Duty I'd ever played in terms of that some of the gameplay obviously and the style, and I really liked that style. I thought they really did well with it back in the day with Call of Duty 2 and 3 and all those. So I'm glad they're getting back to that setting. But I'm along with you. I think their presentation of it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I wish there was gameplay instead of a trailer. I just wanted to see a little bit more of it to kind of show me what's different about this Call of Duty besides the fact it is set in World War II. The next part of their press conference, probably as a whole, was the most surprising, just because of the amount of content they had in it. They had an entire like PSVR block with a total of 6 different VR games experiences coming out. Combine that with Super Hot from the pre-show and then Doom VR from the night before. You've got 8 new VR games coming out sometime this year, early next year. I'm amped. There's at least, I guess there's really just 2 games I'll be getting on it, but there's a lot of games coming out, and they led off with their biggest one, which was Skyrim. Skyrim is coming to VR. Way out of left field. Didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah.
Especially with Fallout 4 VR being confirmed to come out this year. I was shocked that Skyrim was coming to PSVR. That is a big, big get for Sony.
Yeah, but I'm also in the camp of when that popped up, I was like, just let this game die. I don't really care about Skyrim anymore. They've put it on everything and they've released so many different editions of the game. I just kind of want them to go just be quiet for a couple years, work on something really, really big, work on an Elder Scrolls 7, work on whatever that rumored game was that could bridge Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Um, I don't know.
Just stop doing Skyrim.
Yeah, I'm a little tired of Skyrim at this point.
Yeah,
But
the Switch version's coming, and now we have VR. Next thing you know, there will be an iOS port. Um, it'll be crazy. Skyrim's everywhere. They announced a couple other games, and I'll just kind of briefly mention some names. There are a couple we'll probably talk about, but there's a game called Star Child that looks like you take over a giant like mech suit, bit of a platformer, a side scroll platformer. Final Fantasy 15 Monster of the Deep is Noctis Fishing Simulator. Okay, bring it on, Cash. It's you've got to milk Final Fantasy 15 for all it's worth after all the years of development.
Yeah, when that popped up, I thought they were going to show fishing for like a second and just be like, just kidding, it's going to be amazing. You can explore the entire open world in VR and everything. And it was just, it was just fishing.
It's fishing. Sorry about that. I yawned. We saw a game called Moss, where you're helping a little mouse explore some places and fight some bad things. So that was kind of cute and interesting. We'll see how that shakes out. And then we saw 2 more games from Supermassive. So 3 Supermassive games announced at the Sony event, which is kind of crazy. I'm also curious how big these games are. But the first one was called The Inpatient, and that was like a VR medical psycho horror game until dawn. So I'm all about that game. I cannot wait for The Inpatient. That's going to be a really, really cool game. The other one was called Bravo Team, and that was a first-person shooter, which is cool because that will definitely mean it will use the gun peripheral from Farpoint. So it's cool to see support for that coming out even more. What did you think about the other Supermassive showings?
The Inpatient, when I saw it initially, reminded me of Rush of Blood, which is appropriate. But I'm not. I really can't do horror in VR. It's kind of hilarious. The only time I've ever been able to play it are when other people are around. It's more of a party setting. But Rush of Blood was just a little too intense when I was playing it, to be quite honest. So I don't know.
Did you not play Resident Evil in
No,
VR?
oh, no.
It's terrifying.
I can only imagine. Did you beat it in VR?
No, I haven't beat the game yet. I'm very early still. I need to go back and finish it, but it's horror. It's a completely different experience. Horrifying. I was really impressed to see the VR block there. I was worried actually. In my prediction, I said only 1 VR game would be shown, and we got 6 during the press conference, 1 before, and then 1 the night before. Like VR is getting some support behind it, and that's very cool. It makes me feel really good about my purchase.
Sony has a tendency of releasing really cool stuff and then just leaving it out to die. So I was afraid of the same thing, but I'm really glad they're showing support for it.
I'm happy with my purchase. I mean, I was happy before, but now I'm even more happy. Um, Probably my favorite game of this particular press conference was next, and that was God of War, shown off with the new trailer, new gameplay, and the release window of early 2018. Nailed that prediction. Um, Norse mythology going around. Your son is with you. You're shooting stuff. You're fighting stuff. It's God of War, just way prettier with a
And
kid.
Kratos looks
What did you
interesting.
think Yeah, Kratos looks
Yeah,
great.
that's.
What did you think?
I think that really was the biggest part for me was Kratos doesn't seem like just an angry one-dimensional character just yelling at stuff.
Calliope.
I think that relationship between him and it is his son, right? That's
Yes, it is his
him and
son.
his son is going to be really interesting to see more of that side of Kratos and how he handles that relationship and with his son clearly not wanting to be exactly what Kratos is. Um, I'm excited to see more from a story perspective from God of War, which is not really what you go to those games for traditionally. Um,
No, even though I don't really remember God of War 2 story, so never mind. God of War 2 and Ghost of Sparta were both really good. That
that
was the
being said,
brother.
gameplay still looks stellar
Oh
in
my
that.
gosh. An axe. You're just throwing this magic axe around. It looks so good. God of War. What do you think about the release window? Early 2018 is what they said.
I mean that's pretty in line with the God of War 3. I remember came out in March in that early spring
Slop.
time. Yeah, so I'm okay with that. Are you disappointed with that? Were you hoping to get it this year?
No, I did think it was 2018. Some people thought it would be this year. I think I would think it's going to be a February game
Mhm.
because I think that's where Horizon originally was going to fall, but then Horizon slipped into March, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
So I think it's going to be that late February, early March kind of time slot. I think Horizon did fairly well there. And I think God of War will do really well there because God of War is an established franchise and a lot of people are going to come play this game, I think. So I think it's a good slot. If it is spring, they said early 2018. So, I mean, to me, that's anytime before June. So hopefully it
Before
doesn't.
sorry, before
Before,
people yell at us, Horizon is February 28th, 2017. Um,
oh, it was?
yes, it was.
Okay, I thought it slipped into March. But it was super close to Zelda. So and Zelda
Yes.
was March 3rd. Okay. So God of War, really amped for that one. The next thing they showed, which has a track record now of being at E3 3 years in a row, and gave us a trailer with another character you'll probably be able to play as. Still no date. What the heck, David Cage? What's the deal with this game?
I'm still pumped for this game. I thought the trailer went on a little too long.
Oh, it was way
This was
too
when our theater got quiet and then never got loud again. I think that just kind of took the wind
long.
out
Your
of their
theater didn't
sails a
get
little bit. But
theater
what?
didn't get loud for Spider-Man?
Not really. No,
Wow.
it's I don't know that I'm really excited for Detroit Become Human. I really liked Beyond Two Souls. I had a lot of fun with that game, and I'm really really excited about this story because the Kara demo when we saw that several years ago, I loved,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the idea is a little cliched in some way. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this of the whole AIs are human too. We should start a revolution, blah blah blah. But I am always going to be intrigued by that idea that they nailed in that trailer of you could totally ignore that entire confrontation and none of that happens, none of that matters, uh, and just
It's
totally
going to
craft your
be
story.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how much actual freedom we have over the story, or if it is just making decisions that will lead to the same general type of ending, but it's the choices that you made that kind of shape it. We'll see how it all shakes down. I have not played Beyond Two Souls, but I did play Heavy Rain, and that was a very, very cool game. But we all get the same sort of ending. The Origami Killer's identity is the same no matter what decisions you make. It's just who makes it there and how you find out is really what shapes your story. So I'm curious to see how Detroit shapes up like that. It is baffling this game still does not have a date.
Yeah, agreed.
And that we haven't seen gameplay. We've only seen cinematic trailer takes. It's when is Detroit? It's almost getting ready to become the next Dreams, which, by the way, did not make a debut.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one too.
Dreams, I think, is a VR game, and it will never come out.
Jeez.
Goodbye, Dreams. Farewell.
Goodbye, Dreams.
The next thing they showed off was Destiny 2, showed off a little bit of some cinematic stuff. They showed off the villain for the first time, looking mighty fine. Can't wait to kill him with my friends in Destiny 2. Were you a Destiny player?
Nope,
No.
not really
Yeah,
into it.
I spent a lot of time in that game. Good 300 plus hours in there. So I'm ready for Destiny 2. Very, very excited. Showed off exclusive PlayStation content. Surprise. No one. And then they closed out the show, which is pretty short. It felt very short to me, but they closed out the show with a final pretty lengthy demo / trailer for Spider-Man, which sounds like it's going to be called just Spider-Man. Coming out in 2018, Insomniac's Spider-Man game got a pretty darn good demo. That web slinging looks like Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
That combat looks awesome. Like so good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Why is this game so far away? There was a part where Spider-Man was running along the wall, and I was like, that's Sunset Overdrive right there. Like, bring it on. Oh my gosh, this game looks good. This is the Spider-Man game we deserve.
Yes, definitely. I cannot wait for this one either.
It's going to be so good. Like, there's no way it can be bad, right? After that,
If the entire game is like that trailer, then I don't think so. Like just the dynamic ways that he was fighting and like interacting with the environment, like that one time when he grabbed like the steel girder that was on the crane and just like slammed it into the guy next to him.
oh yeah, and knocked them, just killed them all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it looks very interactive in the environment. It looks like they are being very creative with the web and different web type tools and weapons. And when you think about their pedigree as Insomniac with Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive, they know how to make crazy diverse weapons that do absurd things. And so I think funneling that creativity down to essentially, and I'm sure there will be other types of gadgets and stuff in there, but focusing it to one type of ammunition, so to speak, but just the different ways you can be creative with web. I think Insomniac is going to put some really cool gadgets in this game for you to use as Spider-Man. It apparent at the end they revealed Miles Morales is in there, so it sounds like you will be playing as Miles, not Peter Parker, in this game, which is fine with me. I have no ties to either one of them really, so cool. As long as I'm swinging around as Spider-Man, I'm down. It man, that game's gonna be so good.
So what did you think about them ending there? They ended on that one shot of Miles, and then that was it.
I
Did you expect one more thing after that?
well, when Sean Layden said, and I'll leave you with a true PlayStation 4 exclusive, I first thought I was like, hot dog, Last of Us, here we go.
Yeah.
And then you saw the cityscape, and I was like, man, there's a lot more people in The Last of Us Part 2 than there was before. I think we would get a one more thing when the demo ended. But when it came back and showed the Miles reveal, I was like, ooh, maybe we will get one more thing. but then it did go dark and the show was over after that. So Spider-Man was cool. Um, actually kind of having that Miles reveal now that I think about it out loud, it's kind of like a Marvel post-credit scene. Like it was over, but then they're like, one more thing, here it is. So
Pretty
that
much.
was it was cool. Um, I mean, I wish there's this push and pull. Like The Last of Us just needs to go away and be done and then be revealed again 6 months before the game comes out and then do the push. But I would not have minded to see Last of Us there. Um, what about you? What do you think about ending with Spider-Man and the Miles tease there?
I thought they could have had a stronger ending, but I mean that would have been the place to show Sucker Punch. We got no Sucker
Mm,
Punch. I think they could have nailed it by showing whatever they had to show off, even if it was just a snippet. Because
that would
well,
have been cool.
as cool as Spider-Man looks, I don't think that is the heavy hitter that you end a show with. Do you agree with that, or
I agree with you in the sense that, well, not in the sense. I agree with you because, and maybe we can use this to transition to our overall thoughts of the press conference. But Spider-Man and a good chunk of the game shown tonight were games we knew about last year at E3.
true?
Um, the only thing new about Spider-Man was the gameplay, which was very important to see. And I was very glad to see it. But about Spider-Man takes a little bit of oomph out of the sales, especially as a closer. No matter how big Spider-Man's going to be great. Um, but if there was just one more thing that was a game we didn't know about, that really I think would have jazzed everyone up a little bit more because really this was E3 2016 remastered for Sony.
Yeah.
It really was what it was. The only things we didn't know about in was Horizons DLC,
Hmm.
Monster Hunter World, Shadow of the Colossus, the int well not the entire the PSVR block minus Final Fantasy 15. Everything else we knew about. Um all of the first party Sony games were all at last year's E3 in some capacity with the same situation of no concrete dates beside and they were given windows, not concrete dates. It really was E3 2016 remastered with a lighter load of games. And that's kind of at least where I'm at with the struggle of this because Microsoft showing was we've got 42 games, and sure, play two of those games,
Right.
and probably will play them on my PS4, quite honestly, because they're multi-platform. But way more to talk about and show, and that gave it a better energy and vibe. I think this was I I had more games from the Sony event I cared about. There, Spider-Man, Detroit, God of War, Days Gone. I'll probably check out Shadow of the Colossus. The VR stuff's really cool. Like there were more games specifically I was excited about at Sony's event, but I left wondering, man, what am I going to play on my PS4 until all of those come out?
Yeah.
And I came up with a whole lot of there's Assassin's Creed again and Call of Duty, like, nothing that got me amped. There was nothing that was like had me amped for the rest of the year.
Agreed.
And
Or anything that was exciting was already announced, and like we already know the date. It's coming soon, but
mhm,
nothing this fall.
like an act two.
Like Knack 2, exactly.
But yeah,
Or Ex
there's
Machina next week and Crash Bandicoot. But other than that, like GT Sport is the fall game
if it can hit the day.
if it can hit the date.
It's it was not disappointing, but it was like I already knew about all this. Where's the surprise? I feel like so far all of E3 except the Beyond Good and Evil 2 were really games that we knew were coming. Um
Yeah,
no surprises, no out of left fields, no punch, really gets everyone jazzed and amped. And I don't even think we see that kind of energy from Nintendo tomorrow either. It's Super Mario Odyssey and what else? I hope I'm surprised tomorrow. I really do. I think Nintendo can save E3. I've seen a lot of tweets like, "Now it's up to you, Mario, to save E3." Um, Overall, it was a good press conference.
Yeah. And
Okay to
it's
good range.
right. And it's difficult coming off the past two shows, which have been phenomenal.
Yep. And I think what really worked for last year's E3, because last year's E3, like we said, similar situation. A lot of games with a lot of it's coming. Don't worry about it. Play our third party games and these games will come. But there
Right.
were more of them and they were the reveals. It was when we saw God of War for the first time. It was when we saw
Exactly.
Spider-Man for the first time. It was big. There was oomph behind it. And this time it was, well, we know this exists and we know that exists and it's awesome to see it, but still, what am I playing? I don't know what I'm going to be playing on my PlayStation anytime in the future here. It was good. I didn't come out as stoked as I had hoped.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
On the same page, we're on that same wavelength.
Is that the general reaction? Have you seen anyone on Twitter? Was anyone really blown away or really, really disappointed with the show?
No,
You know,
I
the,
think
the
I
general vibe.
think general vibe seems to be lukewarm. Nothing. No one's really pumped or jazzed. No one's like, "Well, that was awful." I'm sure there are people on both sides, but I think everything that I've seen critique wise has been fair and similar to what you and I have been saying. It's it's cool, just not the best.
Yeah.
So that's what we're left with. But that was the PlayStation press conference for E3 2017. I think. Was there any final things you wanted to say about the show itself for PlayStation or um, anything like that, Mitchell?
Um, I
Putting you on the
think,
spot.
yeah, no, you're good. I think we're gonna have a great 2018.
Yeah, we are.
A little disappointed that we're not gonna get any more this year. It seems like we're gonna get great third-party stuff. Like you said, I'm glad that we're getting the PSVR support. I think Super Hot's going to be a lot of fun. I think the Inpatient's going to be fun, although I don't know if I'll be able to handle it for more than a few minutes. Um, so I wish we had gotten more heavy hitters from Sony for this year, but I think that their plan for next year with Spider-Man, with God of War, with hopefully Detroit hits next year. Um, I think next year is going to be really, but it's disappointing that my feeling coming out of the conference is, well, at least next year's going to be great. You know.
Yeah, next year is gonna be great. Thank you, God of War and Spider Man. You've saved 2018. Um, awesome. That was our PlayStation E3 2017 breakdown. I'm writing timestamps down. It's hard to do it and close the show all at the same time. But thank you for listening to the Millennial Gaming Speak episode about this. Millennial Gaming Speak is a part of Model Citizens Media. It's a podcasting brand that I and three other friends different shows. We've got this one. We've got Behind the Pixel, which is a video game interview show where I talk to different people in the video game industry. Just interviewed Danny O'Dwyer, so that episode is up. You should go check it out. Another show is Reeling in the Years, where we talk about music. That's Logan and Michael. They go through by different years and talk about the impact of music and big artists and songs and things like that from those years. And then we have the Model Citizen show, which is where the four of us get together and talk about whatever our hearts desire. You can follow this show on Twitter at MGS Podcast. You can follow Model Citizens over at, I think that's Model Pods. Yep, Model Pods. You can follow myself at Max the White. You can follow Logan at Morgan. You can follow Mitchell at Mitchell W. Morgan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Mitchell, what are you working on? What can you tell the good people about? I know you have a movie or a short film coming
Yeah.
out here soon.
Yeah.
Share with the good people.
That has been the big project where I've been for the past it's been 2.5 years. We've been working on that guy. Um, Sophomore year of high school, my friend came to me with this idea. a story about a musician, and without spoiling too much, a story about a musician who has to deal with uh, losing what meant so much to him in his life and the repercussions of that, and how he deals with losing such big. Uh, I should be able to sell this better. Such a strong part of his personality, his life in general, that's stripped away with him, and you see him deal with the repercussions of that and how to move on from that. Uh,
Okay. When is that coming out?
we are hoping within, but it's definitely this summer. We are hoping July. We actually finished filming the very last scene today, so everything is
Ooh.
completely filmed. We've been editing as we go, so this next month and a half or so is going to be very extreme editing, and we hope to have the final thing out there on hopefully July. That is the hope.
Tentative date of July. Make sure you follow Mitchell on Twitter to know when that short film. It's is it Renaissance or Renaissance? What?
Resonance is
Resonance. I was like, it's something. I can see the word in my head. It is. It is like is 1 o'clock in the morning
yes.
again, 2 nights in a row. I'm wiped. Thank you. Yes,
Enjoy.
you've been one of the great PlayStation friends I've had over the years. Thanks to be on. So it was a treat to have you on the show,
It was
back in the
great being here.
podcasting space. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you tune in tomorrow or today or whenever for our Nintendo breakdown, where we will most certainly talk about Super Mario Odyssey, and God only knows what else we'll talk about. Please, Nintendo, save us all. I'll call that a podcast.
Yeah, it
Boop,
was a
boop,
fun
boop.
show.
Thanks, man.